Hi, Miss Michelle here, and today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about trimming. So I'm just going to show you one of my trimming techniques that I like to use to trim a larger bowl, okay? So I'll just quick show you the bowl that I'm working with, okay? So there she is. She's been drying for a couple days now, so she's kind of just about leather hard, all right? And I just want to show you really quick, hang on 1 second. I want to show you what I'm going to be doing to measure. I'm here by myself, so it would be good if I had someone with me to kind of do this for me, but I'm going to just show you the little rings that are on the wheel. So I'm using those to measure, okay? So I just wanted to mention that. I'm going to stick my phone right here, and I just want to make sure that you can actually see my wheel. There we go. Let me just slide this back an inch or two. Am I coming in clear? You just adjust one more time. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it like this now. All right, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna wet my wheel. Okay, I'm gonna turn my wheel on. I have a sponge here that's just a little bit damp. And remember, I was telling you about measuring using those little circle rings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my bowl upside down, okay, and I am going to see if I can line it up with one of those rings, okay, and it's hard to tell sometimes, so what I do is I turn the wheel on, okay, and I like to see if my finger moves at all. So even if it's slightly off, there's an opportunity here to get it perfect. So I recommend always taking your time. Don't settle for anything less than perfect with this step, because you want your ring to come out perfect. And if you're not centered, what's going to happen is it's not going to come out the way you want. I don't know about you, but I always want my things to come out great. So I'm still kind of looking for that perfection here. I'm just feeling around and getting definitely closer to it. Okay, I'm up. Feel it. It's just still a little slightly off. That's perfect right there. So I have this other hump of clay here. What I'm going to do with that is, and this should be pretty firm, hard. This is going to actually anchor down my pot, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just roll it into a little snake, and I'm going to make like little chunks like this. And what I'm going to do is kind of stick them around, okay? And I'm just turning my wheel on incrementally to show you what I'm doing. All right, this is an important step. So wetting my wheel first is a very important step, and this anchor step is super important, okay? Both of these are going to keep your piece suction down, which is what you want. You don't want it to come flying off, all right? Just putting a couple more. I'm always like, better safe than sorry, right? All right, so I have my ribbon tool here, all right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn my wheel on. You don't need to go fast for this step. So I'm gonna work on my foot first. Okay. And I think ideally your bowl should be a little bit more on the leather hard side than mine is. Mine's still slightly on the wet side. I've been letting it dry for 2 days, but I've been anxious to make this video for you, so so bear with me. So now what I like to do is flatten out the bottom. It's just a real kind of a quick once over. You don't want to go deep here, because what's going to happen is you'll end up actually making the foot of it, it will be lopsided if you go too deep with it. So it's really just to kind of graze it and get rid of anything extra that might be floating there that's going to keep it from coming out awesome. And it's going to hold my ribbon tool in place, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of keep my hand steady. All right, so I'm working on my little footer. I'm just kind of going around also and just trimming away anything extra. Okay, it's looking good. And just working on my little foot here. The foot was already there because I built it with a foot, but now I'm just kind of making my foot stand out a little bit more. So there's many ways to do this. There's not one right way. There's many ways. That's the beauty of this. It's an art. So you may have heard different from another teacher, and that's fine. But if they told you this is the only way, then they're wrong. All right, so now I'm getting to the point, I'm just going to show you what I'm up to here. We're getting to the point where we're ready to actually start to carve the inside of it, okay? So I'm hoping you're going to be able to see well. I'm going to try not to block the wheel too much. What I like to do is start in the center, okay? And I'm going to work my way out. So I start with some minimum pressure, and I'm slowly pulling out. I'll just show you where I'm at so far. I'll show you what I did. It's not over yet. Okay, just showing you where I'm at. And I do like things really nice and neat. So my thing is, you know, I'm very spoiled because I own my own pottery studio. This is my space. I don't keep things that aren't, like, in my opinion, the best work I've ever done. It's really important that I'm only keeping things that really, really look good. So when I throw pots, I'm usually throwing about 4 or 5 at a time. I get to do this. I don't get to do it as much as someone who you would think should do it, who owns a pottery studio, right? The reasoning for that is because I have 2 young kids at home that, you know, demand most of my time. So I get to actually throw realistically about once or twice a week, and that's it. But I'm always kind of in the process of making things. It makes me happy. It's something that keeps me excited. I go home and I think about trimming. It's all I want to do is trim my pots, right? I think most potters will tell you similar. It's just what starts to happen when you get really into your work, okay? And that's a great feeling. It's such a wonderful thing to have a hobby that you love so much. Okay. I'm just still working on my foot here. So I'm going to show you where I'm at. Okay. So you can see it's starting to really come together. I'm just going to verbalize what I'm going to do for my next step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up my trimming to get it to the exact shape I want, and I'm pretty much there. And then I'm going to grab my sponge that is just a little bit damp, okay? And what I'm going to be doing is giving the whole outside a once over with this sponge once I'm done, okay? So I'm just kind of doing some finishing up. The inside of the foot has some areas that are still a little bit indented. Now, you know, a person made this. You can tell it's not from Home Goods. It's going to have little slight organic imperfections. That's just the way it is. Even the most experienced potter is going to have these, and it's what's going to make your work really beautiful. So don't sweat it too much. So I guess what I'm talking about specifically in my case is that I'm looking at the inside of my bowl, and I can see the ribbon shape, and I can see that there's areas where it's like a little bit higher and a little bit lower. So I'm just smoothing out to the best of my ability, but you will still see them because this was not made in a factory. This was made, it's a one-of-a-kind piece. So now I'm just going to trim over my foot one more time, because what happened is I got this little inner ring. So I'm just going to go just give a real smooth once over. It's going to ensure that my pot sits flat when I have it on a table. Okay, and now this is the part I was telling about with the sponge. So I'm not putting any pressure, and I don't want to get my piece extra damp or anything like that, okay? This is just a quick once over. And what I like to do, I just realized that you can't really see, so I just adjusted. What I like to do is kind of move my hand around really, really light. And what it's going to do is just kind of remove a little bit of the ribboning that you could see before. And we're just about done here. One thing about being a potter is you kind of got to know when to stop, because it's easy to go too far. When you go too far, you've gone too far, okay? Your piece won't make it. So that's an important thing, and I'm just going to show you how it came out. So next step here, I'm done with my trimming. I'm really happy with it. I'm going to take off my anchors, all right, and I'll glob them together so that I can reuse them. You guys probably know by now I'm really big on recycling my clay. We are a clay recycling space, so it's extremely efficient. It helps us save money. We have this tool called a pug mill that we put our old clay into so that we can recycle, and it just saves us a lot of money, and it saves the earth, so it's a win-win. Okay, this part you want to be extra gentle. I'm just lifting it up to show you. So it's I would say it's like a side bowl, like you know, for if you're having dinner, this, you know, your mashed potatoes would fit really well in here. I'll just show you the bottom. Okay, and just stick with me because my next video is going to be all about underglazing and carving, so that's coming up right next. All right, see you in a few minutes. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.